Welcome to the new Overlords Podcast in 2024, where we talk about hot video game news and what we've been playing. I'm Max, and with me to talk about all the games coming in 2024 is someone who could, but we won't make her, predict the release date of every single game. It's my co-host, Sema. Hello,
My
Sema.
superpower, yes.
Yes.
Are you ready for 2024? I feel like I'm ready for 2024.
I hope so, because it's January 3rd. I mean, it's here. It's well and truly. But
I believe
no, I'm not.
I think
am
the
not
first
ready
week can still be called transition.
I think I feel like it's transition. I typically treat the week between Christmas and New Year's as the transition in the past, because often, as of it would have been even yesterday, a lot of people are back to work. So it's 2024 for a lot of people.
Right.
But not me yet. My kids are still in town. We're still doing stuff we just had a big movie night last night. I still feel like it's like I'm in vacation mode, even though every day's vacation day for me.
Do you do that thing where wherever you have to write the date, you forget and say 2023? Because I've been pretty good about staying in the right year.
That's part of the thing. I haven't had to write the date anywhere. I haven't.
Right. We have to do it so
It's
infrequently now.
Yeah, and nobody writes checks or so. Yeah, it's weird.
I write 4 checks a month because
Really?
Yeah, because my house cleaner.
I haven't written a check. I couldn't even tell you the last time I wrote a check. I think I did once in 2023. I've used my bank to send a couple paper checks, maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah, I do
It's
that.
weird. Yeah.
It does teach me, though, that I no longer know how to write, words and stuff. Like if I can, I can only type.
Right. Right. With a keyboard. I have my Bluetooth keyboard tied into my phone even. So that I don't have to type with this on-screen thing on the phone. I just always with the keyboard. My fingers should just be glued to a keyboard always. That would be great.
Oh, I have to look into that. Maybe a Bluetooth keyboard for my phone is what I need for my life to be perfect.
I've got there's an alt key, a function key, which switches it between my phone and my PC, and it'll actually do 3 things if you want. It's really nice. So I flip it. So if you ever see me in Discord yelling at my kids or something, it means I didn't flip the keyboard correctly. Or alternately, I'll flip back to my PC. It's still in text, and I'm going www.asd. I send that in the group chat.
Then your family says, "Well put."
Well said, my friend. Well said. You know what else is well said this week is some news. Let's get into that.
All right.
Good news, everyone.
Okay. Following up on what we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, it's not over. It's almost over. We'll do one last look at the Game Awards for 2023. Steam late put out just last week in the past few days, their 2023 Steam Awards. And it's another take. We knew there would be a bunch of these. I think it was relatively...
The thing I like about these is it's voted on by gamers.
Right.
So is game. Yeah, so a lot of things are, but this is Steam on Steam, the people who play on Steam.
Yes, and that includes a lot of regular people, not just gamers. Because if it was just gamers, as we scroll down here, there's one we'll get to, which gamers are up in arms that it won the category.
Yeah.
It's actual people who play and like games,
as
opposed to gamers who hate games.
I feel like I might know which one you mean.
Yes, it's Starfield.
But I do have to say the categories seem kind of random.
A little bit. Yeah, we'll get to the game you suck at. Is that what you're thinking of? We'll get to that.
No, because that one makes perfect sense to me. But well, when we get to the one we're referring to, I'll explain what I mean.
Okay. So, Game of the Year, of course, was Baldur's Gate, and that was reasonable. VR Game of the Year, I am not familiar with Labyrinthine. How do you say that word? Labyrinthine?
I don't know.
Labyrinthine. 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 That's how
I
I
mean,
will
there's
say
a monkey one, and it didn't win.
it. Labor of Love Award. This was a surprise. Red Dead Redemption 2. This not something I would vote for Labor of Love. I don't think they put out a whole bunch of like content or did much with it. Labor of Love, and this might be people not understanding the category as much, or just they're playing it a ton, and if it's getting patched at all, then fine.
Yeah. And we don't know how many people actually voted, too. And
Right.
voting might be popular among people who play Red Dead Redemption and not popular among people who play
I
Rust.
think it may be people who continue to play these games that aren't new in 2023. Because if you look at the finalists, Rust is up there, and Rust has minor updates, but not like a ton. But it continues to be maintained. Same thing with Deep Rock Galactic, has a lot of updates. This they're doing a ton for free. But like Dota and Apex Legends, those are just live service games.
And there's a game where you feel like it's taken care of, and there's games where you feel like it's deserted.
Right.
These are that first group.
Joe Melman in the chat room is saying lots of people who never knew about the awards on Steam and didn't vote. I didn't vote. I'm on Steam every single day. I have Steam up on my screen every single day, and I didn't know that this was going on, and I didn't vote.
No, and you get a sticker if you vote. So,
look,
I would have voted.
Unlocked these chat stickers by voting, and none of them are unlocked.
They're all grayed out
I'm
for me.
I'm a loser. I lost. Good day, sir. I said good
day. And this is like looking at games and thinking about games and reading about games. This is kind of what we do.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Maybe I just always have it in my library. I never go to like the splash screen. I don't relaunch Steam ever.
I do tend to just go to my library. That's true. Or the store.
I never close it and reopen it. Maybe there is like a splash screen in the news, and like the news pop-up that pops up, I close that as fast as within a millisecond.
Because that's usually just an ad. Yeah.
Right. And I hate ads. Best game on Steam Deck, again, a surprise. Probably just because it's an often played game. It's Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy was well rated as a game. It's problematic from a creative perspective, but well rated as a game. Everybody who played it really liked it, and so I'm sure a ton of people are probably playing it. I would have expected something like Brotato to be like a key winner in Steam Deck category. And not just like a full RPG like Hogwarts. Even Diablo, I know it plays pretty well on Steam Deck, but
I mean that's kind of what I meant about like it's kind of random. It's like I wouldn't put that game in that category necessarily.
Right. Better with Friends, Lethal Company. That is a co-op fun time party time game. So cool. I think that's fine. I don't have to get too deep into these. Outstanding visual style. Atomic Heart did have an outstanding visual style, so that is fine as well. Cocoon, I think, would be pretty cool. But Atomic Heart, that was kind of part of their thing, visual style. Most Innovative Gameplay Award. Here we go. Starfield won for Most Innovative Gameplay Award. And regular people think it's innovative. Gamers think it's nothing innovative whatsoever. What? Spaceships? We've had spaceships before. What? Planets?
Well, they think it's like every other Bethesda game.
No one has ever done customizable spaceships before? You're crazy. No one's ever done procedural generation before? That's been done for 10 years ago that was being done.
So in your mind, what's the difference between a gamer and a person who plays Starfield that's not a gamer?
Well, I think the key difference is... to me, to like what I'm calling a gamer, what I'm like targeting when I go after
like
gamers,
the collective hate voice.
Yes, it's the in crowd who's in the subreddits, in the forums, that in crowd that creates the sort of the gamer zeitgeist. Regular people don't surf, don't participate in game forums and
don't
post
comment on IGN articles,
and don't rate and review every single.
But they might self-identify as a gamer.
Yes, yeah, So I don't, not people. It's not people
Or
who
their
play
parents
games.
might
It's the
call them a
quote
gamer.
unquote gamers.
Yeah, their
Um,
family might call them gamers.
my sister, my sister's sister-in-law's son, so kind of in the family. He's like a high school kid. I talked to him about games a bunch over the holidays at the family events, and I could tell that he's been surfing these forums with some of the comments he was making about games in general, and then Starfield in particular, because it's like an echo chamber. So it's like the same quotes that people throw back and
Right.
forth. It's the same posts that get posted, once a week. Is anyone else bored? Does anyone else think it takes too long to get into Starfield? Okay, I think someone else does, because that gets posted and upvoted every 3 days since the game released. So yeah, probably, but it's those people that are creating that zeitgeist is what I call gamers, and 9 times out of 10 for every sort of game discussion, they hate games. Best soundtrack, Last of Us. That certainly does have a great soundtrack. So cool. Baldur's Gate for rich, outstanding story. Yeah, good fun story that you create yourself. But
What was Starfield up against, Forrester?
in terms of, this is the finalist. I don't think it was necessarily up against them. I think you just self-nominate. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea how it worked, but Contraband.
But just tell them what the finalists were.
Yeah, Remnant, Shadows of I've had this up on the screen the whole time. Somebody poke me.
No, you didn't. It's your
I know.
I
I know.
didn't
That's
know what
I
you
meant.
intended. Oh,
I've
okay.
been looking at it the whole time, scrolling so people could see.
Okay.
Uh,
Contraband Police,
I gotta
your
put like a post-it somewhere.
only move is Hustle, Starfield,
Remnant 2.
and Shadows of Dawn. See, that's it's kind of what I meant by random.
Like
It's sort
Shadows
of
of Doubt, very innovative gameplay. So yeah, there's some stuff on here that's probably more innovative in core gameplay, but very few people played it, like Shadows
But
of
I
Doubt.
don't know that Starfield is innovative gameplay, because the gameplay is very similar to previous Bethesda games, right?
Yes and no, but I would say the innovative part of Starfield is the whole package, putting it all together
Right.
with all, 1,000 planets to explore, ship customization.
Right. So the word gameplay probably means different things to different people.
Yes. Yeah. So true. You could, and I would give you that if you wanted to make that argument that it's still kind of like a Bethesda game in terms of core gameplay. But
somebody who's voting
I
might
could say
think,
that.
"Oh, I played this game. It was innovative. I'm voting for it." Yeah.
Best game you suck at, Sifu.
I always see that at STFU.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's Sifu. I can't even get to the page. This again is an innovative game. So you could say, because I believe this is the one where you age in the game, right? I didn't play it, but I believe this is the one where you age, and like when you start out, when you're young, you have like more energy and you're more agile. But when you're older, your attacks do more damage because you have more experience. But every time you die, you age up. I think this is this one. And then if you die after you get to like age 70, you're permanently dead. I think this is this one. If not, there's another game like that I'm talking about. That's also very innovative. Yeah, so cool. Oh, and Sit Back and Relax award, Dave the Diver. Should have gotten more awards somewhere, so this is a good category for it to win in. Dave the Diver is a great game. Yeah. So Game Awards. That'll sort of cap off our 2023. As we know, gamers hate games. But there are tons of good games, and 2023 was an amazing year. We're going to look ahead tonight when we talk about 2024 and what games are coming, and I'm expecting it's going to be a good year, especially for updates to the great games coming in 2023. So we'll take a look at that. Next up in the news, this is a fun one. Sema and I have been talking about this a little bit on the side, but in case anyone has seen the copyright for Steamboat Willie entered public domain in the past week. This is sort of a big deal. It's not
Steamboat Willie being the original Mickey Mouse.
right. And it's not, there is still a trademark on Mickey Mouse, a sort of trademark and copyright. It's very complicated. So
Yeah.
there's
So the copyright is still good for subsequent versions of Mickey Mouse.
Right.
And the trademark is still good for this Mickey Mouse because trademarks don't have to expire as long as you can renew them infinitely.
right. So you can't put out a character you call Mickey Mouse because the term and property of Mickey Mouse is trademarked. The character of Steamboat Willie, you can now put out characters that look like that because that's not copywritten and that's in the public domain now. The Fantasia, like Mickey Mouse from Fantasia, where he's wearing the robe, that's still under copyright as an example, as of an implementation, an execution of the Mickey Mouse character that is still owned under copyright by Disney. So Steamboat Willie is in the public domain, and as happened with Winnie the Pooh, we now immediately have a game that will be released probably in 2024, which is a horror game, which has a Steamboat Willie as the horror main character. And there's a horror movie coming out, which has a Steamboat Willie. It's called Mickey's Mousetrap, the film, which will be a teen horror thriller stabber movie. The interesting part of all, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say one thing about a trademark is it protects like Disney's version of Mickey Mouse from it protects their business. That's what trademarks for. So if you make a Mickey Mouse thing and it looks like a Disney thing, then that's when the trademark can be used against you. So I think that's one reason why these early attempts come out and it's something, try to think of like the least Disney-like way to use this.
For one. For two, jump on the bandwagon of whatever interesting. Yeah. The shock of taking a beloved character and making it into some horror thing is exactly what they did with Winnie the Pooh as well. I'm not very interested in that.
The thing that's scary to me about the Winnie the Pooh story, I didn't see it, but when you read the blurb about it, it's like Winnie the Pooh and his pals went bad after Christopher Robin left and stopped taking care of them.
Right.
And so it's like, yikes.
Right.
I don't know that this one has like a Steamboat Willie story that goes with it. It's just the imagery. I don't know.
Yeah, it could. I mean, again, if that adds to the shock value, this is going to make money because people are, because of the shock value, and is one of the first ones out there to take a beloved character from history and wreck it.
And if you
dirty it up, put graffiti all over it.
Right. Plus, if you're a gamer, or I guess I should say person who plays games and enjoys this genre, and there's 10,000 new ones every month, this is one way that they put their little mouse ears above the crowd,
get
so
some
that
attention.
You can see them. Yeah.
For money. So both of these are just being done for money. No one's passionate about telling this story, and that's what disappoints me about them.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But I'm not raging. I'm not gonna boycott these. I won't participate.
Well, tell me about nudity on Twitch, though. I want to hear about that.
Yes. So this came up in the past couple weeks. So Twitch. What did you expect? Give them an inch, they will give you back multiple inches, if you know what I mean. Twitch.
That was the first time you ever said that appropriately.
That was a euphemism. Clearly euphemism, and I used the euphemism, if you know what I mean, appropriately. So Twitch decided they were going to relatively randomly decided they were going to relax. They're going to create a section for more adult content. They wanted to like open it up. They know there's like all these hot tub videos and people wearing a thong or whatever. And is it allowed or is it not allowed? So they decided they were going to open up their policy, their Twitch nude,
When there's a lot of money in it.
right. And they rewrote the policy, they put it out there, and immediately it went off the rails. Immediately. They have plans to create an adult section. They have plans to blur thumbnails. They have plans to update the algorithm so it only shows up if you're sort of opting into that kind of content. But they didn't put any of those plans into place yet, for one. For two, if you open those gates the tiniest crack, the cracks will...
If you know what I mean.
The cracks will be apparent. They will manifest, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So immediately it went off the rails, and Twitch had to like walk it back and update it again, and things went crazy.
Mankind, you are so predictable.
Yes. So they're gonna have to continue to work on it, and yeah, they think Twitch. What did you think was gonna happen? What did you think?
Well, probably what happened was somebody had it on a list of things that they were supposed to have accomplished by the end of 2023.
Good point. Oh, this is the way a lot of things happen in corporate America. You have your goal sheet, and you have what you're supposed to have done to achieve your goals and get your raise and get your promotion by the end of the... So they had it on the calendar that, this is a thing that needed to be done because this will increase revenue, and you want to have that checked off on your goals for the year. So, we got to do it. I said I was a good... So some VP was out there like, Karen, turn, we got to get this, turn it on.
But we don't have the yet done yet. Oh, that's okay.
Just push it out there. It's the holidays. Not much is going to happen. We'll slow roll it. Push the policy update out there. Okay.
Check.
And then out comes the boobs. So that's what happened. All over the place. All over a bunch of people. Not mine, because again, I don't go to the front page. I don't go to the front page of anything. But all over a lot of people's front page. It was just
I don't either, but maybe we're making a wrong choice there.
I think maybe we are. Wait, what kind of choice do you think? What did you mean by that? Like the style of...
Well, we could have voted on the Steam Game of the Year awards. And B, I
thought you meant maybe the way the podcast format needs to be updated to partake.
No,
Hello there.
I hadn't gone there yet.
Welcome to the New Overlords Podcast After Dark.
Ugh.
Get a load of me. I'm I have no clothes on. I am Max. No, that's not gonna happen. No, wait, didn't I say it would happen? Didn't I make some sort of promise in the past, like some
Gosh,
Bill
I hope
Nighy remember Bill Nighy in Love Actually, where it was like if this song goes platinum and we beat out all the other songs, I will perform naked on live TV on the BBC.
I had forgotten about that.
And he did. So yes, if we get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will perform in 2024. I will do the podcast naked. There you go. All right. So
what people don't know is you probably don't have pants on, right?
Well, the rest of me will be naked. Thank you, everyone who has joined us in 2023 and is still with us in 2024, even after promises like that. This podcast is brought to you by all of you out there. We really appreciate everyone's support, your listens, views, your likes, your subscribes. We're the highest as we've ever been on YouTube by a little chunk. We've sort of went up 10% in the last month. That's really fun. Thank you very much. that all makes a really big difference for us. It sort of is fun for us we would probably sit here and chat with each other once a week, every Wednesday, regardless, but it's fun to see that it's getting out there as well. Big thanks to the chat room here, who is with us and is a source of inspiration and answers and responses during the show and after. That's all fun for us as well. You can get to all the places to sort of see when we're going live, to see when it hits the feeds in audio and video. You can get to all that stuff at newoverlords.com. And hey, this podcast is also brought to you by Alea Jacta Est, the big family-friendly gaming community that Sema and I are a part of. All of our MMO guilds live there, especially our SWTOR guild, which we are on weekly. Well, we're on every day, but we have weekly events all over the place. There's new ones I think that are going to be getting switched up for 2024. There's strange things are afoot at the Circle K. So keep an eye out in our Discord for that. The AIE Discord you can get to is at aie-guild.org. And we are on Starforge and Shea Vizsla. And I think that's where we may be seeing some more action in 2024. Super cool. All right. Let's see what's coming in 2024, Sema.
Bet you didn't see this coming!
Did you see these things coming? We will talk about what's coming. We will talk about really what I've seen out there that a lot of people are talking about, they're excited about, either people I've talked to, forums I've looked at, articles that are being written in some of the major gamer publications, IGN, everybody's got articles this week. What's coming in 2024? What are the most anticipated games? We'll also kind of focus on what we're anticipating the most, but a broad smattering of the top things that are out there that are anticipated. So let's start with what we usually do and what we've done for 9 years now. On January 1st, we talk about Star Wars: The Old Republic and what we expect is going to be coming. And in fact, what we've done for 9 years now is we've had our wishes and predictions for what's going to be coming in 2024. So we'll touch on that a little bit about what we predicted, what happened, and what we expect. So we got the producer letter. We talked about it a little bit last week from Keith to say what's coming in 2024. We didn't get too much pushed out to say specifically what's coming in 2024. He hinted at a few things, though, and I know he has more that he wanted to say. They just probably aren't prepared to say it. They don't do roadmaps anymore, and that's probably good. It's tough to do a roadmap because that sets various kinds of expectations, and it's hard to live up to any expectation you set, even if you exceed it.
I think, a roadmap takes a lot of community management, and I think ultimately it's meaningless to most players. So it's like a lot of effort,
right,
for no return.
It's meaningless to most players, and for gamers, it's used as a club to whack you with.
And if you think about what Jackie does as community manager for the game and for the team she works with, if she also had to be managing everything around a roadmap, something would suffer.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't believe that roadmaps are necessarily the only good way to communicate with your community. Yeah.
We do know that we will be getting continued work on the story that's in progress. So we're going to get more coming very soon in 7.4.1. We will get some story beat updates, especially with the Lane Vizsla stuff that is specifically called out. And then we're going to have a 7.5 update. There will be a sneak peek of that probably coming in the next few weeks, it sounded like, where they were going to do dev stream. Yeah. It sounded like they wanted to do a dev stream relatively soon. So maybe in January we'll get a dev stream, which is going to talk about 7.5, give a peek at what's coming in 7.5, and then when it's going to come out. They have been doing a good job, and they did this through 2023 pretty well, of putting out content on a regular basis and getting more and more content out. It's not giant expansions, but there's significant content and significant game updates and platform updates and new features, bang, 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 that came out like every couple months all throughout 2024. They are also going to, I'm sure, continue, and they talked about Galactic Season 6. The PvP seasons are happening like clockwork now. The Galactic seasons, which is sort of like the Game Pass, the type of thing for Star Wars: The Old Republic are continue to come out like clockwork. I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of that still in 2024, and be able to see what things look like for the broadsword team really spreading their wings in 2024. Because a lot of even what we had through the end of 2023 had at least been put in motion. Not all of it was executed, but a lot of like the story arc was put in motion back in the old days.
Yeah. And a lot of the stuff that I put in my predictions and wishes, I can actually see happening in 2024. Like one of the things I was talking about was like once you stamp something into an outfit, have those items go into the interface somehow such that you didn't have to keep the items
Right.
if you wanted to do that.
That would be great. Was that a
I
wish you had? I'm scrolling.
No,
up
I
'cause hear
predicted
stuff.
it, so I'm still predicting
Yes,
it. I
that
think
was
because I think that would be
failed
the
prediction.
it's a failed prediction because I think they have. It seems like they have sort of the infrastructure in place for doing more of those
Yes.
tabs.
Right.
So like they could do a tab for outfitter, like how they did a tab for all your mats and a tab for.
That would be great to have basically a cosmetic collection system. That would be great.
Yeah.
Let's hit your predictions really quick. GSF added to the PvP reward track. I would say you kind of get points for this because it was added, at least it was about to be added. They announced that it would be added for like 5 minutes. And then 2 days later, they pulled that back and said, we can't add it to the reward.
Yeah, they ran into problems, but the heart was willing.
Right. So that could be a 2024. It would be great to see that. It's PvP. GSF is a form of PvP. The reward tracks and the way the PvP seasons are arranged, it doesn't fit. So they would have to do some rejiggering. Tweaking to the transparency and frequency of updates. I
definitely think
yes.
they did that. Yeah.
Yep. So you scored on that one. UI quality of life features such as storing toys and regen items in a tab.
Same issue that I was talking about with Outfitter, and that didn't. Yeah.
Not completely. Yeah. I mean,
no.
some of it is in collections, but not in an actual. I would like it as part of the, not just collections. So you just pull an item out and make a copy of it, but have an interface so you can like have all your toys like WoW does.
Like how they did for crafting materials.
Yeah, like the crafting tabs. Crafting revamp did not happen. Would love to see that happen.
I don't predict that either. I feel like the value in crafting is right now conquest, and I think that might be true for a while.
Right. A new event. Did we get a new event? I don't think we did get a new event. Didn't. I mean, we did get new areas. We got new dailies. We got new.
No, but I was thinking
but not like a seasonal event.
Yeah, a new thing to go in the rotation.
Right. That would be fun. Still want to do a rundown at some point of best MMO in-game events.
And pretty much nothing I predicted for the story happened.
Yeah. So you had like went into this and sort of
Malgus I totally thought that Malgus was going to break out of his prison in 2023, and that didn't even remotely happen.
No, he's just been chilling this whole time. Still.
Yeah.
Ooh, her brother's gonna die. Ooh, but with a redemption arc. These are good predictions, though. We should still keep this on the table for 2024.
Yeah.
This is good. And then what did you wish for?
I wanted an extra ops mode.
Yeah.
Because if they want to have a normal mode or a story mode that's difficult, then they need to still have the story mode that everyone can do.
Mm-hmm. R4 in particular. That's the one where it's where
yeah, but I would even go back 2 or 3 operations.
Like Gods from the Machine.
Yeah.
You're saying that's hard to do story mode, and Duxon is hard to do. As like a story mode. Yeah, you're right.
It's not hard if you have a team that plays together every weekend or in voice.
But it's not like a. You're right, but it's not like this. The story
mode.
But
if you're not Yeah, if you're not a raider and you just join a group on Fleet or something, it would
And
hard
you've
to.
never done it before, and you don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah,
it would be hard to do those fights,
right.
and it would be hard to do that trash leading up to Isaac's.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Make the story mode still have a story mode, and don't make the jumps between. I mean, have a master mode be as hard as you want, but then make vet mode actually in the middle then, and have a master mode. R4 is just wacky. It's just broken
Well, and I totally
from a
get when
difficulty.
people say, you can't just make everything super easy. Some things have to be challenging.
Yeah,
Absolutely, but
yeah, totally.
there needs to be an easy version
Right, and a progression.
because that's what this game is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, make a tab for outfitter gear. Okay, that's.
I thought
Oh
there
no,
would
that was
be
a wish. That was a wish, not a prediction. So you didn't fail on that one. Tab for outfitter. There you go.
yeah, for the outfitter, yeah,
One less failure.
was a wish. Yeah. But it's similar to the other one I said, the UI QL features, but
Yeah.
that was a prediction.
Yeah. Vilanius Schoolmaster has some good suggestions there. They could just relax some of the mechanics because they could relax some of the damage on or take some of the health away on the first boss to get through that a little quicker, and the mechanics on the last boss are just very difficult even for a coordinated team. But like for us, it's a weird, fun but weird mechanic that is very difficult to line up, and there's 4 knockbacks. So you say you have 8 people, 4 people get tagged, and you basically have like 2 seconds to the point where the first person gets knocked back away from the boss. The second person gets knocked back away from the first person. The third person gets knocked back away from the second person. The fourth person gets knocked back away from the third person. And unless you really have a strategy down and everybody can execute in 2 seconds, people get knocked all over the place and people fall off and people die and you wipe. And that's story mode. And that's just one mechanic out of that's 2 seconds out of a 6-minute fight. And it happens multiple times. So it's a challenge, and that's just one of them. There's other things that
Right.
you have to get
And
used
just
to.
again, we're not saying remove all challenges, and we're not
No.
saying challenges are bad. We're just saying,
In fact, I love having like an unbeatable,
Yeah.
master mode out there.
yeah,
So either tone down existing story mode R4, keep vet mode the way it is, which is a hard vet mode, or
Yeah.
maybe even tone down vet mode, and then add a master mode. The idea that we're getting gear upgrades, that I like, and that's not a bad thing because that does make the content easier because the fights go faster and you get through the phases faster and you have a little bit more leeway to focus less on dealing damage because your damage is increased a bit. So that's a way to do it, but we're not getting progression fast enough in gear progression to be able to push people into a story mode. We're not overpowering enough to make R4 story mode an actual story mode.
And I think when they decided that they were not going to make operations part of the story progression anymore, like if you think back to Oricon, the 2 operations there, Dread Fortress and Dread Palace, are part of that story of that zone of the Dreadmasters. Well, actually, multiple operations are part of the story of the Dreadmasters. They took going forward, they took operations out of the story, but when they did that, I think they thought, now we don't have to do a story mode that everyone can do because you don't have to do an operation to finish the story. But I just disagree. I just wish they would have
Right.
had because I want to take my guild there.
Right.
And my guild has all different kinds of players in it.
Players that don't ever do any operations.
Yeah.
I mean, we have people that it's really fun to bring them for the first time into Karaga's Palace. How cool is that? And if they have never played the game before and, they're wearing 320 gear or whatever and they can't go to R4. And it's, it's sad.
And for some people, this is their first MMO. So anyway. Enough about that.
What were my predictions? Malgus focused operation. Malgus would end up in an operation, and we would get it. So we did not get an operation update past R4, which I had predicted, and I figured Malgus would be part of it, and he was not. Something with GSF, and added to PvP season at a minimum. Again, almost. New PV, something more for PvP. They got to do something more for PvP. They got derailed in the middle of the year with the transition, obviously, from BioWare to Broadsword. But that would be nice to get another map, another mode. I think another game type in PvP would be cool. But at least a couple more map skins. Another new planet we did get. So we got Runic, and we got. Well, I guess Ord Mantell doesn't count as a new planet.
Well, we got.
So we did not get Runic, and we got Runic at the end of 2023, didn't we? What about? Yeah, so no, Voss and Ord Mantell weren't new planets, so we did not technically get a new planet.
And-
They're new
right.
areas and they're really cool, and new zones. That's almost better than getting a new planet, but we did not get a new
Right.
planet.
Like one of my predictions or wishes was that we would get new lair bosses on existing planets. And so
Right.
that didn't happen because they aren't really lair bosses, but we did get a couple of new world bosses.
See, what did I wish for? Update all existing baseline character graphics and textures. And I see that wished for relatively often as well. I love the new graphics and textures that they have. If you look at Sahar, for example, both in-game and in cutscenes, it's very apparent what they're able to do these days that they weren't able to do in the past. I would love a pass. And it sounded like when we did our interview, go check the interview that we did a couple weeks ago, it sounded like they would like to do that as well. Whether they'll be able to still remains to be seen. But Keith kind of alluded to now that they have this, both the tech and the ability, a pass to go through and do some of those updates would be cool. New cosmetic type. So I came up with the idea of capes. But I'm going to claim victory on this
Yeah.
new cosmetic type with the new dyes.
With the new dice, and also with now there's a lot of outfits that have baggy pants. And the baggy
Right.
pants are getting better and better.
Textures and modeling of the existing cosmetics are definitely a tier above. And the new dyes are definitely a new cosmetic type. They're so cool. I can't wait to see what they do with both the tech and just adding more dyes in 2024.
I went to I decided to do what a lot of people in our guild, or some people in our guild, have done, which is to buy the dyes but not claim them,
Yeah,
so that you can kind of decide later if you really want to spend the cartel coins on it.
right.
So I went to do that. I'm like, oh, I have like 10K fewer cartel coins than I thought I did. And I said, I wonder why. And I went and looked at the ledger, and there's all these 1750, 1750, 1750. Well, apparently I already did go
Oh, you
buy
already did.
buy all the dyes. And Wrinkle, you can only claim them on the character that you
Oh.
bought them on. So I was like, oh,
But are
well,
they? But I think they're legacy bound. No,
They
they're-
are, but
they're
I
not even-
mean-
they're not even legacy bound. So you'll be able to pass them around.
oh, you can pass them around. But when I look in the interface
Oh.
for the cartel market, and if you're on the wrong character, it will say nothing to claim.
Right.
So I had to think of, so I forgot that I already bought the dyes. What are the chances I would remember which character?
Right. Never, not at all.
I did find it out though.
I tend to only do it on one character. I have my mercenary as my main, and so
Oh,
anything
I
I do
just did it
anything on, I try to do.
When
it.
someone gave me the idea, I just did it at that moment
Right.
on the character I was on.
Yeah. Okay, so that's Star Wars: The Old Republic. We do expect it's going to be a fun year in 2024, and I think it will be an exciting year. In fact, I think it even though we got a lot of good stuff in 2023, I predict that 2024 is going to be even a better year, especially as the Broadsword team spreads their wings, as
Yeah.
you said.
I agree.
Okay, so getting more broad, we're going to go across other games that are anticipated, that are in the news, that people are watching for or looking for. No particular order. We'll call some out and to probably talk a little bit more when we get to the ones that we're very focused on. but I have no idea how I got this order. So we're just going to go with the order of what I have. One that I have actually played is Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. I played this at PAX West in the fall. They had a bunch of PCs set up.
Did you play this one as a kid?
The Prince of Persia?
Yeah.
Actually, yes, a little bit. And I played it on PC or maybe even on Commodore 64. The original Prince of Persia, like Prince of Persia 1. And it's not my kind of game. I was always into RPGs and MMOs since they got invented. But I always liked the aesthetic, and it was always really well done version
I
of
was
it.
going to say, yeah, I like the way it looks.
And it's still quite good from that perspective.
It's
Again,
a
it's not my kind of
Metroidvania type game.
Yep. A little bit of platforming. It's
A lot of
2D.
platforming. Yeah.
It's 2D plus, where it's like a side scroller 2D, but you get a little bit of depth where you
There's
can go in and out.
perspective. Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
can actually move back, back in a scene. You can, so they're doing some interesting things with that. A lot of cool abilities to make
yeah.
use of, and progression of those abilities.
Right.
and
And you
it
need them
felt
for
really
some
good.
areas. Yeah.
So if you click back into our recap video from PAX West, I talked about my time playing it. And I had a good time. It was good from that perspective. This next one, have you had your eye on this at all? Skull and Bones.
No.
It is highly anticipated. It's been anticipated for
It
quite a
is
while.
it looks very beautiful.
It looks very beautiful. It is multiplayer. So it's like the small server multiplayer. So it's the 20-person server. I think like a cap of 20 people on a server. But I think what they're going to do is have a bunch of servers out there, and you'll join a server. So you could be playing in the game world, open world, pirate game with strangers. So you can have a bunch of other players out there. You can have your friends, obviously, too. I think you can get small squad. You can have a crew. You get together. Very wide open world. And from what it sounds like, and it looks really really good. I'm very interested to see what they do with it, because a lot of the mechanics are very wide open. Oops. See, I told you, this is not on the YouTube site. I gotta mute site. Did you hear that? Now I want to hear that though. Once was a ship that went to sea. The name of the ship was a Billy O.T. I don't know what they were singing there.
See, I love that ship.
So it's Unreal 5. It's pirate water combat.
It is Unreal 5?
I believe I read that it was Unreal 5, yeah. Which is a surprise because it is an Ubisoft game. So the Ubisoft, depending on their sub-studio, typically does it in their own engine. But I think this is Obsidian that is doing it under Ubisoft. I forgot who's doing it. But it's not the Snowdrop engine. But buy ships, build ships, craft the ship, customize the ship. Start your level up through Infamy. So the Infamy system, to be doing missions and expanding your missions via Infamy. And as you progress through the game, you open up the ability to craft more things, trade in more areas, take on bigger and bigger challenges, get sent to, as you can see later on, start assaulting harbor towns and fortresses on harbor towns. So you start out as just like a scrub, pirate out on your own, and you build your legacy as you go further and further and further. All of the systems are starting to sound really, really deep and broad. One thing I heard, which has been interesting, is there's no like campaign. There's no like main story. It's an open world. You go and make your own way. That is kind of compelling to me because, again, it gives a little bit of that sandboxy survival feel to it. That is the kind of thing I like. And it looks beautiful. The fact that it's only 20 people kept on a server, I wish it was more, because I'm sure a bunch of people in AIE are going to be really interested in it, and we're gonna cap out a server, even if you can even get your own private server, or we're going to be spread out amongst 20 servers. So I don't know how that's going to work specifically.
I love the look of this, and I like when you say, it looks deep and all that stuff, but I personally don't have any interest in being the bad guy. So if the point of it was you were protecting those towns from pirates, or you were rescuing people or something, I might be more interested, but I don't want to invest a lot of, personally, I'm not attracted to the idea of investing a lot of time in becoming the biggest, baddest criminal.
Right. Agree. And we'll mention GTA 6 that's coming out, or is it 6? Yeah, I think it's 6. It's another one I never got into because I don't want to be the bad guy. But I'll still play it, and if there's a way to play it where there's at least headcanon where I'm the good guy, and it's the Empire, it's all Imperials in the harbor towns.
Yeah, there you go. They're all baddies.
They were all bad. Have you ever killed anyone? Yes, but they were all bad. So we'll see. But it looks amazing, and they delayed it so long. Amazing. Hopefully, it will be amazing as well.
And the ships are just beautiful.
I'm sure as we get closer, I will do a deep dive into this. Hopefully, get our hands on it. Ubisoft doesn't do a lot of like betas, early access, that kind of thing. So I expect when it releases, we'll be into it, and I will be into it at least. And I'll pull Sema in for 5 minutes at least. So,
yeah. Well, I might, I might find myself more interested than I think. Yeah.
Too bad there's not two factions. Too bad you can't be like the good guy faction and the sea captain, the fighting against the pirates. That would be fun. That would make sense. Okay, next up, and we don't need to go too deep into these, especially some of these that we aren't as interested in, like this one. And this one is pretty controversial. Everyone's afraid that it's going to be terrible, and the gamers are already saying this is already a train wreck. It's already a failure, and it hasn't even come out. This is Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. I like the aesthetic and the twist. I always kind of liked that idea of what if all the superheroes went bad. What's his name? Not Robert Jordan. The author that's like Robert Jordan, who finished up the Robert Jordan novels.
Oh, well, I would have known if you hadn't asked me.
I know. So what's his name? It has a book series that I can't remember the name of the book series either, but it's about what if all the superheroes went bad. So something makes the superheroes bad in his book series. Ironheart, I think, was the first
Brandon
book
Sanderson.
Brandon Sanderson, Ironheart, was the first book in that book series. So in this one, all of the superheroes go bad, and basically, through the story, I think the Flash breaks out of the mind control or whatever and says the only way that you're going to save the world is you need to kill the Justice League. So you then become the true purpose of the Suicide Squad in lore is to be able to take out superheroes if they go bad. But it's a fighting game, so I'm not so hot on fighting games. But I like this aesthetic. I like the style. The fact that it's just an action fighting game, I'm not so hot on, and especially if it's anything like Souls-like, which it looks like it could be trending in that direction. I won't be that interested in. But pretty cool.
Every time I hear something might be Souls-like, or I just think that's good for those people that they are getting a game. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not the game, not the kind of game where I just don't, I feel like I don't have enough time to
become expert at
8 hours into a single fight. There's a certain level of satisfaction that you do get by mastering that fight and getting through it.
But I tell you what, though, that kind of satisfaction, I want in my real life endeavors, and that takes time too.
Right. So yeah, well, that's one to watch, and it's one to although it will be announced as a failure as soon as it comes out, to actually see if real gamers, people who play games, actually like it and have fun with it and make it successful. Yeah, again, because like Starfield was one of the worst games of the year and complete failure, although one of the best sellers and voted highly by anybody who actually
And been
is not a
played
gamer.
hundreds of thousands of hours already. Yeah.
Next one up, I thought was interesting because I was not very familiar before last year. This sort of all getting announced potentially something to look deeper into is this Persona series. It's a JRPG, so it's a Japanese RPG. So it's got like the turn-based battles. At least it has historically, and it's got a combination of that. So it's sort of like the turn-based battle fight in combination with the RPG part where you're like a high school student and you need to like go to your classes and you need to develop relationships with your other students and the teachers, and you're like leveling up all that kind of stuff on the side, which is really a classic JRPG kind of thing. And then the story is there are demons that are impacting the world, and how you discover that these demons are manifesting is there's rumors. This is the way Persona has worked in the past. This is sort of like a remake of Persona 3 that's coming in early 2024. Everybody who is a Persona fan obviously is very, very excited about it, but I think this is going to have broad mainstream appeal. And it does seem, especially for people that like this kind of game, it seems really, really fun. So fun. It was fun for me to sort of dive into it and learn what the Persona games are all about. And I bet it would be fun. There's like the whole little in between fighting demons, like searching, doing your little detective thing, Scooby-Dooing a rumor to find a demon that you need to fight and leveling up your abilities to fight those demons. You also have to worry about your schoolwork and your homework. That just seems sort of like fun and interesting. Sort of that dichotomy of the fighting with you're just a high school kid, doing high school kid things. So yeah, if somebody who's a big Persona fan, let me know, because this, again, I remember I was talking about the high school relative of mine. This is one that came up that he said he's definitely anticipating for 2024.
And how old is he?
Sophomore
He is a
in
high school, yeah.
sophomore,
Yeah.
junior, something around there.
Yeah, the thing that attracts me about anything that's anime is I just know that there's layers that I'm unaware of. There's history behind how they draw things and why
Yep.
they look this way, and it's just fascinating to read about.
And the stories can be a lot more interesting and have more layers than you expect and that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how popular this is. I think it could end up on some of the Game of the Year lists by the end of the year. This one, just from the feel I get from it and the feel I get from people that are anticipating it. Another one that's another sequel in a series that has performed well in 2023 and is highly anticipated for 2024 is Like a Dragon. So this is the next installment in the Like a Dragon series. This is Japanese RPG where you play as a Yakuza, like a low-level Yakuza guy.
Like a current day pirate.
Yeah. But a lot of humor in the series, a lot of like weird, Japanese meme weird stuff happens with these Yakuza guys. And a lot of really interesting story elements as well that people have.
I do like the Where Am I beginning. It's a classic.
Yes.
Oh,
They keep
that's
doing
very-
the almost reveal of him being completely naked over and over and over again in this trailer is hilarious. So the Yakuza main character, I forgot his name, but he wakes up naked on the beach. I guess he doesn't realize he's naked. and the camera keeps panning over and over again to, doing the
And
strategic
different things get in the
covering
way
up
of his
of the
dick.
full
Yeah.
frontal.
Yeah.
Hilarious. So
And he has a
yeah,
really, really great tattoo. It's a
you
dragon.
go on an
Spoiler.
adventure with him and another of the main characters of the season again. So yeah, Like a Dragon, Pal World. This is on a lot of people's anticipated lists. But my problem with Pal World is it's not it's 4-person multiplayer, so it's co-op, but not multiplayer. It seems like it could be the kind of thing that would be really fun as like an MMO, but it's not. So it's basically like an open world Pokemon, and it's not Pokemon, but it's obviously Pokemon stuff. And
I wonder if
they're pals.
if there's more and more like small number of people games. I wonder if there's like metrics somewhere that say that, people play in small groups anyway, even in MMOs, that makes people think, well, why should I invest the effort and the dev time to make an MMO when most people are going to play in groups of 2 or 4 anyway?
I think that could be the case. There are design choices that you can make when you're doing a co-op, either a single player or a co-op
Yeah, for
game
sure.
that you can't do if
You
you
can
do
make changes to the world, for instance.
Right. And you can break things. You can
Yeah.
allow your characters to become overpowered and broken and do weird and
Yeah, you
interesting
don't have to
things
worry
and
so
loot
much about balance. Yeah.
uber sword of insta-kill. Whereas if you've got that in a MMO, it breaks things,
Yeah.
encounters.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's a lot more work to do an MMO for many reasons.
And then from the game business perspective, as soon as you get into the live service, there's a whole nother can of
Right.
worms that gets opened
Plus,
up.
it's much easier if you're starting from the perspective of a single player game to go to a 2-player or 4-player game than it is to go to an infinite number of players game.
Right. So, and I think even from an investment perspective, you probably have to start thinking about, okay, what's our monetization scheme after the fact, and do we want to
Well,
want the
that's
hassle if you've
where
been thinking about that?
right.
Because then that's
And that's
it
where
feels
hopefully the
really bad.
MMO pays for itself, but it's
Right.
yeah.
And that's how we get good MMOs, but everybody hates it, and and then do
Well,
you want to put up with
yeah. Right.
microtransactions? You're terrible. How do you think this happens? How do you think the games get made?
And it's not just games.
This is anticipated. Doesn't appeal to me all that much. Looks cute. It's basically a kind of an open world, almost Zelda style looking Pokemon mashup. So we'll see we'll see how well loved it is by the end of the year. It could be, especially for the younger crowd, but all ages as well. But because of the cute aesthetic, and get it on some consoles and get it on the Switch.
So
this
I
could
do
really
think that
sell.
cuteness is for adults as well. Not just because I like cuteness, but especially in the Japanese aesthetic, there's a value for the cuteness.
Sure. And again, places you want to spend time in. Where do you want your eyeballs, for long periods of time? Dark, bloody, gory worlds. I don't like to spend a lot of time there. So this would be a place that I would prefer to spend time in. Hello Kitty Island looks like a beautiful place for a summer home. You can quote me on that. Highly anticipated, but more of a fighting game, Avowed. And I believe this is a little more like Souls-like-ish adventure RPG, not multiplayer, I don't think. So this is another one that's it's an action
Clutch
RPG.
cargo animation.
It is not multiplayer, massively multiplayer. It's not an online. It's not a live service game. it's an ARPG. And so fight a bunch of things, shoot a bunch of stuff. First person in a lot of these cutscenes so far, so that potentially is going to be where it's headed. But a lot of people are really excited about it. I wonder if there's going to be a VR version of this. This seems like it would really be well suited for VR. Just looking at the trailer, it's This is Obsidian.
What makes you say that? What about the trailer makes you think, oh, this would be good for VR?
The graphics aren't super overtaxing for one,
Gotcha.
and for two,
Okay.
the first person view. The way the sword was held in front of the camera and sort of like the first person combat, the way this magic casting is
Gotcha.
going, all of this stuff seems well suited for VR. Look, the left hand, the right hand, the axe. Man, this seems like a VR game.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So we'll see. Does anyone know if this is slated for VR? We'll have to look it up. But it's definitely on a lot of people's lists. Another thing that's on a lot of people's lists, which could end up as like a game of the year contender because it's so anticipated and so well loved, is another installment in Final Fantasy remake game. So this is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Widely anticipated, well loved in its original form. Tons of people will definitely be jumping into this. And the way that they're going about doing these remakes of the original Final Fantasy series is amazing. Is really well done. So it's not just a graphics update, but they're also tweaking the gameplay and the mechanics and the story to some degree. Some of the story elements change in the remaster, and mostly from most discussion of the ones that they've done so far, everybody loves everything that they do and all the changes that they make. So, hugely
I
anticipated.
see they didn't make the sword smaller.
No, that's Cloud. I believe that's Cloud. That's got to have that giant sword. That's
Well, I
kinda
think
his
giant
signature
swords are to Final
mode.
Fantasy what big shoulders are to WoW.
Yes. Yeah. How do you even it's bigger than you. I guess there's inertia
Well,
doesn't work the same in
That's
Final
his
Fantasy world.
superpower.
Okay, expanding it out a little bit more into something that's slightly closer to something I've been talking about for a while and expect that we're going to get in. Well, I don't know if we're going to get. So here's where maybe I can predict: are we going to get this in 2024 or not? Arc 2. So Arc 2 on track for late 2024. I don't know, and I also don't know how much I'm anticipating this. So I'm a big fan of Arc Survival Ascended and Arc Survival Evolved. It's not necessarily, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a sequel to Arc Survival Ascended, Arc Survival Evolved. So this is Arc 2, which sounds like it's going to be, and they keep describing it as more like an ARPG, they've even said Souls-like, which is not what I want. I want a full Arc 2, Arc Survival Evolved 2.
Right.
Arc Survival Ascended is close. It's pretty good. They definitely did a good job remastering it. They didn't remake it completely, so you do have some of the cruft of the many years old Arc Survival Evolved that is carried over into Arc Survival Ascended. I'm having a ton of fun with it still. I keep trying to get out, but it keeps pulling me back in. So when we get into what I've been playing, I've been in Arc a ton. I keep saying, I just want to do this one more thing. And it turns into like another, week of projects that I create for myself. And, but I was hoping when I first heard it announced that Arc 2 would be like the complete remake, rebuild of the survival game. I don't know if it will be. So I may be looking elsewhere for my survival hits in the future and my adventures in more worlds in my non-SWTOR time. Like
I'm
Light No
sure
Fire.
there will be something.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be. There's Blizzard's unannounced survival game. There's Light No Fire from Hello Games. There's going to be a ton of things that will be relevant to my interests, but we'll see. I'm keeping my eye on this because I just like the dinosaurs and the aesthetic and how it all works together. But I don't want a Souls-like game. I don't want to be Vin Diesel and I just need to like dodge and roll and just learn the dance for the dynamic fight and just die 50 times to try to kill the T-Rex. I don't like to die in games, and it limits me. So I'm ultra conservative. I level up and over level and become overpowered, and I hold myself back. So in lots of games, but especially in something like Ark Survival Evolved, I can't play on a PvP server because what you should be doing is taking the risks, dying and coming back so that you can progress much, much faster. I hate doing that. I hate dying. I don't want to die once. So I'm real conservative. I take too long to like build up all my skills and gather all the materials. And then once I gather them all up and I make myself some nice armor, I don't ever want to lose it. So
Right.
I'm not good at that. I did get good at that mindset when I played Eve, but even then I ended up quitting Eve because one of my really nice ships that I finally got blown up,
Yeah.
which you're not supposed to. I mean, the way I would do the big fights in Eve, I would make 10 drakes and then I would go fly a drake and it would get blown up and I'd go get another one and I'd keep flying. And that's the way you're supposed to do it. And that's the way I should get my mindset into playing some of these kind of games, and I just can't. So
I don't like dying either, but I was playing some WoW yesterday. I was just leveling a character that I want to have leveled in time for Cataclysm when it comes out next summer
yeah.
or fall. And I just wasn't paying attention. And I just died like 4 times. It would caught me by surprise every time.
Yeah.
Normally I don't play like that, but it was just like, oh look, I died again.
Right.
Run back.
Right,
But there's no cost really in WoW if you die.
right. Which then you really should get yourself into that mindset. Take the risks. Get out there.
Yeah. There's something to be said for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you feel like you're bad if you die, and who
Right.
likes that?
Right. Personally, I feel like I like the Iron Man kind of challenges.
Yeah.
Kind of thing in my head, even.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of WoW and what you're prepping for, what are you looking at? And we found this article on the roadmap, and the actual roadmap.
Yes.
What do you tell us about WoW in 2024?
I kind of thought that in 2024 I might spend some time in retail. Like I might weave back and forth between retail WoW and classic WoW. But there's actually so much on the roadmap for classic WoW, and it's hitting so fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen. And just let me clarify: we wish Cataclysm was coming a little bit sooner in the year, but once it comes, they're just cranking out the updates at an alarming, to me anyway, pace. So
Right.
I don't want to be playing WoW Classic like a job in order to be ready for each new update. So I have a concern about that. So that leaves me in the way I want to play retail is I want to go into retail and explore all the like mounts and pets and looks and stuff that have just been going by me in the last year when I've been playing classic. So I want to like see, and I want to play the trading post. That's their sort of Game Pass thing in retail. You do like objectives every week, and then you earn points towards cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the War Within, which is the new expat coming for retail. That's also starting to rev up for. Yeah, but I think when that happens, when War Within goes into pre-patch, I will have just finished playing Cataclysm pre-patch. So, yeah.
How's that gonna work?
I don't know. And if I were if I were WoW, I wouldn't know how to do this any better, really.
They
But
must have
I
like split their company at this point, and it
I
really
mean,
seems
I
like they
feel
have.
like between classic WoW and like if you lump all the classics together, so if you say between retail WoW and classic WoW, I thought they were going to make it so that they could be breaks for each other.
Right.
But I don't know if it
It's not.
I
I
don't
don't think
know if
it's that
that's
anymore.
no. And if you're playing Season of Discovery, which in my head I am, even I'm still level 17, um,
Yeah.
with the max level being 25. Soon the max level is going to be bumped up to 40 with new features, new runes to catch, a new operation, which is Nomergon. It's a lot.
Crazy. And that again, that too hits. So if you're into Season of Discovery, bang, 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 you've got your year mapped out. You know,
Yeah.
you gotta be ready because the level 40 for Season of Discovery is dropping. Did it
And
already
the
drop?
friends that we
No,
have
it's
that are
coming
playing
up in the
Season
next
of
month or two.
Discovery, they are playing multiple I mean, they're playing it like it's their game. Like it's a season, but
But
at the same time they're doing multiple characters, they're learning fishing, getting their fishing maxed out,
right.
how do you make gold and all that stuff, all the stuff
And
that
every
you
quarter there's basically like the season advances. So you have to like get done with the previous season chunk by the time the next season chunk is coming, and it's once a quarter.
And then this is mind-blowing too. Coming up for WoW is their 20th anniversary.
Yikes.
I
That's
know.
crazy.
So I know my voice is getting like higher and higher and higher in pitch, but it's all really good stuff. I don't know how I'm going to chunk it up in 2024.
Well, in a way, I'm glad I'm not so sucked into classic. I mean, I dabbled in hardcore. I dabbled in classic when it launched. I will hit War Within when it launches, just because I have every expansion ever. But I'm glad I won't have to be like doing Cataclysm and getting ready for raids, or still raiding in Cata, and getting Zandalari coming
I
in
have
and
to
Firelands coming in.
I have
Well,
to say that getting ready for raid is different experience than it was in the vanilla experience.
it was a lot. That was a job.
It was a lot. Like right,
in
we
vanilla.
we do compared to what we used to have to do in the olden times. It's minimal raid prep to begin with, but like getting your gear up to snuff, there's a lot of fun activities you can do to do that, and it's you still have to spend time in game. It doesn't like come to you free, but it's not the grueling thing that it was.
Yeah.
So that helps. Like
Chat
I feel
room.
we can be ready for Cataclysm when it does come. Go ahead.
The chat room all access was saying surprised that Cataclysm is being released.
Oh, I think they're going to do all of them now, because
And I think the Season of Discovery and Classic satisfy the people that just wanted the old school vanilla and never wanted to change, or maybe wanted to change in interesting new ways, but not do Wrath and not do Cataclysm. But the
and I
people
don't
that started
know.
down the expansion path,
I don't know how
see it's
unpopular
really popular.
Cataclysm really was, because for every person who didn't like Cataclysm, I know people who Cataclysm was their
I thought
favorite
it was
Xbox.
fine. Yeah, I liked it.
Um,
I liked.
I
liked
quit
Cata.
playing originally during Cataclysm, but that was because my friend group quit playing.
I quit playing during every expansion, so that wasn't that big a thing to me. I level up. I dabble in the end game content a little bit, and then I fall off and do other things.
I think what they're going
I
to do
never
now.
killed Arthas. I never killed Deathwing, but had a lot of fun in both of those expansions.
Obviously never killed Deathwing, and I didn't do raiding in Miss or WAD, but I really enjoy.
I don't even know who you kill. Who's the big bad of Mists? I don't even know.
Garrosh, I think.
Garrosh?
Yeah.
I thought it was like it wasn't a Shah?
Nope.
Like,
I think the Shahs were like early things that you.
yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
Slow
I don't know because I
down.
didn't do it, but I think they're going to do, and I think I've heard this question before that Starry Saber says in the chat room that like, why would they do classic Cataclysm when Cataclysm is the new version of the world? But I think now what they mean by classic is whatever the version of that game was at the time it was new.
Yeah.
So like there's going to be a classic Mists, there's going to be a classic Warlords of Draenor, there's going to be a classic Legion. Is like, why wouldn't they?
Right. And again, it seems like the people that are on that track really like that.
And I mean, the effort, I think what was really hard for them to do and took a lot of effort was classic vanilla because they didn't have
They didn't. I
they
don't think they
they
had
didn't
it.
have modern methods of preserving the code and all that stuff.
Right.
They had to recreate some of the stuff, but I'm pretty sure they could roll out, Legion tomorrow if they
Yeah.
wanted to.
Right.
And I'm probably exaggerating, but I don't think Legion would be hard for them. I'm sure by then they had software practices and yeah.
Well, as soon as 2 weeks from now,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
this.
A lot of people left and a lot of people left, but a lot of people played it too.
Yeah. Starry Saber.
Is all I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people I knew left too. But they were
Yeah.
also just other reasons that they left.
Yeah. And right. As soon as 2 weeks from now, the roadmap for WoW kicks off in retail with Seeds of Renewal, with dragon riding unlocking worldwide. And it's modified dragon riding. And some of the old mounts will start getting the dragon riding abilities. and
What's
you'll be able to switch
modified about
between.
it?
I thought I thought you could switch it back and forth and not all old mounts were getting dragon riding abilities. Not every old mount was, and it's still
I think that's all
uncertain
true, but
exactly
it's
how.
not like it's dragon riding light or something just
No,
because it's
no, right.
it's
No,
real
it's
dragon riding.
dragon riding and is dragon riding. Yeah, are there
Yeah.
any places in the old world where you won't be able to do dragon riding though? I
Maybe
wasn't clear
because
on
there's
that.
places in the old world where you can't fly even today,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah, like Blood Elf Land,
yeah, Blood Elf Land
Blood
and
Blood
Goblin Land
Elflandia. I
and
think it's called Blood Elflandia.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
Yeah. That is one thing I'm not looking forward to in Cataclysm is I did not like personally the starting areas, Gilneas and the Goblin starting area.
Mm,
And
I
then I didn't mind it as much in
didn't
Mist, but I
mind
still don't like
Gilneas,
the
but
idea. I don't like being separated off from the rest of the world and not being able
yeah.
to get
Well,
mail and not be able to like send my character advantageous stuff and
yeah.
yeah.
But we'll see.
Harsh my vibe, man.
We shall see. It's going to be an exciting year for WoW. It'll be a big year for WoW. Big year 2024. Again, probably bigger than 2023 for WoW.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun one.
Just one more point about that. Starry Saber is saying like the way they broke the world up and rebuilt it is what people didn't like, and that is very true.
Yes.
But I will still say that like today people will say, "Oh, I hate that old version of Orgrimmar. I like the new version of Orgrimmar. Can't wait for the new
Yeah.
version of Orgrimmar." So
Right.
even though I don't like what they did in Darkshore, for instance, and in the Barrens, I don't like that there's like ravines everywhere and now I have to find a way around them. And just like how I don't like in Star Wars when I'm on Balmora and I can't figure out how to get there from here.
Right.
I just don't like that in general
Right.
in games. So that I did not like that about Cataclysm. That's true.
Yeah.
But now I'll be able to fly. So
Yeah. Right. Because you can fly everywhere. You can fly over the ravines, which you cannot do in Star Wars. You can't just fly. I always wish you could.
right.
Just let me fly.
I wish we could swim and fish in Star Wars too.
Yes.
Put that on my wish list.
Okay, here's an interesting one that's on my radar. Not because it's actually a game or will actually be coming out in 2024, but something to watch in 2024 for me is Star Citizen. I don't know why this is not the right link.
Is it supposed to come out in 24?
No.
24? No. Okay.
No. Maybe 2034.
Yeah.
But they've made big infrastructure updates in 2023 that push them closer and closer to what they want to have in place for 2024. And Squadron 42 is their single player version of the game. That may be coming out in 2024. They haven't confirmed it, but they've said it's sort of like feature complete, polishing phase. They haven't like come up with a date yet, but they want it to be, it sounds like they want it to be in 2024. That is also a big milestone in the development of the multiplayer game and where they've been spending a whole bunch of their resources. I'm quite interested in both the single player
Is that
and the
Gillian
multiplayer.
Anderson? Oh my
Yes.
God.
Oh, tons of big name actors in the trailer, and in the mocap and everything.
She's amazing.
Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson. So, yeah, they have $500 million. They can hire some people to be part of their game. I would like to see them getting to the point, which could happen in 2024, with what they call the persistent universe, which is their massively multiplayer version of the game. Who knows if that will ever actually become a released game? This seems like on a roadmap to never be released. But what they hope to get to and what they keep trying to say that they want to get to is to the point where they never do wipes anymore. It's a very playable game right now, but every time they do a big major update, because they're doing such big infrastructure changes now, and server meshing is their latest infrastructure change. So basically what that does, and they've got some really good tech, is if you're playing and you come across other people in the MMO world, everybody's right now split up on different servers. You can only have like 100 people or 50 people, or it was like 20 people, but then it went up to 50, it went up to 100 on a server, and you have to like log out, log back in, and you might end up in a different server. What they've added to the game is the infrastructure, so everything that's in the game can be in one game world, and servers dynamically spin up and spin down, but they're meshed together, so anything that you like, any of your assets will be in your map. And if you need to interact with other players, the servers that they are on will also mesh with yours, to the point where they showed tech demos at their last big conference in the fall. The tech to mesh, even like fighting across server boundaries. So if we're in a room or we're in a zone and it's split between two different servers, it's meshed enough that you can shoot someone that's on the other server and your bullet still operates properly as it should. So weird tech stuff, but if they can get to the point where they stop wiping every big major version like 4 times a year, and like wiping the world and wiping all your assets and you starting from zero again, it will be a very, very playable game. And that will be interesting to see. There's so much more that they need to do, though. The game's certainly not, the Persistent Universe is not coming out in 2024. It is not yet. Again, they don't have a real reputation system yet. They don't have real sort of crafting. There's no depth to any of their systems yet, except for the graphics and the engine and the ships. So that's definitely on my radar of one to watch in 2024. And then I have a list of, so there's a bunch of the major things. Then I have a list of things that I'm interested in and are on another bunch of lists. So let's just run through these. We won't spend a ton of time. Light No Fire, definitely high on my list of games that I am going to be watching very closely, but I do not expect to come out in 2024. So if you haven't heard of Light No Fire, that was announced by Hello Games as a big game they've been working on for 5 years. It looks really good. It could come out by the end of 2024. It's not impossible, but I don't expect it to come out in 2024. I expect it to be a 2025 release. So think of everything that No Man's Sky was in a galaxy, condensed down to a planet and modernized from an engine perspective. That's what Light No Fire seems like it's going to be. So massively multiplayer, procedurally generated, planet as big as, this is what Sean Murray is promising, and he's had bad track record of promising things and people being mad that it wasn't everything he promised, but Earth-sized. And what it seems like it will be able to do then is be able to put 1 million players on this Earth-sized MMO planet with building and exploration, and for you to basically be able to explore yourself indefinitely and build a base and travel the planet and roam and play with your friends and fight and, factions and races and RPG kind of stuff, but giant, enormous, huge, infinite exploration, from a personal perspective. And that just seems so cool to me. And it seems like something I bet that they could do. As All Access says in the chat room, sounds very cool if it works. And that was kind of where No Man's Sky, what they promised and delivered and under-delivered on. It's No Man's Sky still has 1 trillion planets in its system, and that was what they did that made No Man's Sky innovative at the time. Procedurally generated trillion planets. All of the planets in No Man's Sky 10 years later, is it 8 years later? Aren't 10% of them aren't even explored. You can go into No Man's Sky today and find new planets very quickly. You just start in the world, start flying off in some direction, find a whole solar system that no one has ever found. You can do that within 20 minutes of starting fresh today. Then you name it and it's explored and you found it. And you can find systems that other people have already found and when they explored it and found it. But huge, enormous. That's what they're good at. That's what they've done TED Talks on, is the way that they were able to do that kind of tech that made this huge, enormous, infinitely explorable universe in No Man's Sky work. I would love to see that and what they're sort of promising here for Light No Fire. So that's big. Another big one for me, which I, in just researching this past week, saw two things about it. One is I expect that we'll get the Horizon Forbidden West port to PC. Long overdue for that. It's PlayStation only. I like the Forbidden West series. Again, it's robot dinosaurs, so why would I not? Single-player games. The Forbidden West Alloy, I like her as a character. It's a good story. It's one of the few RPGs that I played all the way till the end in the past couple of years. So beat the game kind of thing. So I want the PC port to come in 2024. We hope it will. Rumors in the past week, this I did not see. Rumors that Horizon as an MMO might be coming to the world. So there's NCSoft, and then I forgot which studio has been rumored to be working on an unannounced MMO. It could be, and so this is all rumors right now and might be completely false, but a Horizon universe MMO coming to PC in 2024 or 2025, but that it potentially in something on the horizon. No pun intended. That would be really, really cool. I would love to see that because it's a world I really like. And it's very Ark-like if you were going to make an MMO out of it. And again, if this can be my replacement for what I wanted Ark 2 to be, I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling I was getting in my brain thinking about it. So we'll see. What else? So a bunch of other things on this list that are popping up on everybody else's list. Bloodlines is out there. Hades 2. So Hades is a big was beloved indie game that came out 2 years ago. 8-bit roguelite, really fun kind of game. Hades 2 is supposed to be coming out this year, and everybody, I'm sure, that is a fan is going to love it. They did such a good job with Hades 1. That was another sort of like game of the year kind of contender, especially from an indie studio to have such a cool game come out and work the way they made it work. So Hades 2 is widely anticipated. Stalker 2, a lot of 2s and 3s. Path of Exiles 2, I played that at PAX West. Path of Exiles, we'll keep Path of Exiles 1 seasons going, but Path of Exiles 2 is expected to release and then have its own trajectory starting in 2024. If you want that alternative to Diablo, Path of Exile is a really good version of that, and Path of Exile 2 is looking really good. I played it, and it's basically it's another Diablo, and it was done by people who built Diablo, and they did it to make their own version of Diablo, and they achieved what they want to achieve. It's great to have alternatives like that out there, and people who like ARPGs like that to have something else that they can go do. Another ARPG that plays like Diablo, I'm all for that. And it is really fun, the depth of systems that they have in Path of Exile. You can tell that the game creators were fans, and they just sort of like went crazy with some of their brainstorms on what might be possible. And it turns out it's pretty fun the way they've implemented stuff. I don't know if you remember when we were talking about this, Sema, but this is the one where the build tree looks like a giant constellation with 200 stars on it. And you have to like figure out how to build your character by charting a path through that giant build tree. Very cool ARPG Diablo clone. Homeworld 3, that's another sequel that's going to be coming out. I was meant to be showing you the trailer there. Homeworld, so Corley turned me on to Homeworld. I played some of Homeworld 1 and 2. That's a RTS, real-time strategy. So think like StarCraft, but Homeworld is in space, right? So Homeworld is RTS in space, and the really cool thing that I liked about Homeworld 2 when I played it, and that we'll certainly be getting more of in Homeworld 3 in a very updated version, is it is space. Space is 3D, and this is what I love about space games, if they're done right, is there is no up in space, and there shouldn't be. The enemy gate is down. So when you're doing your RTS, when you're laying out your ships, there is sort of like a plane of engagement, but when you want to get advanced, you need to think in 3D, and there isn't, and you need to position your ships in 3D. And they do this cool thing with your little squads. So as with an RTS, you start to gather resources, and you start to have like a mothership that starts building bunches of little ships, because they're very expendable. They're almost like ammo. But you group up your little squads of your little ships, and you start placing them around. And then you can take a squad of ships, and you can assign a formation. So do you want it to be, and do you want them all to sort of like be lined up in an arrowhead in a plane? Or do you want them to be like mapped out in a sphere? And that assigning the formation dynamically on the fly, and then placing those formations around the battlefield, and then engaging the enemy and cutting off their supply lines and continuing to mine resources while you're doing this, and everything you'd want out of an RTS where actions per minute or APM matters. That's what you get in Homeworld, but you get it in space in 3D, and it's very, very cool. So yeah, a lot of people are looking forward to Homeworld 3, the RTS fans, and I will certainly be checking it out. Last couple, Silksong. So for fans of what's it called? Hollow Knight.
I don't know.
It's Hollow Knight.
Okay.
It's the long-awaited sequel to Hollow Knight. So Hollow Knight was another
gotcha. Yeah.
indie game, roguelike, platformer, Metroidvania, super well loved. Both the art style, the aesthetic, the art, the gameplay, everything. Hollow Knight is often for a lot of people one of their favorite games of all time. 5 years in the making for the sequel. Silk Song will be the sequel, and everybody is very excited about Silk Song and cannot wait. So it will be interesting to see if it lives up to the hype of what everyone's hoping for, and with as good as this team has been, I expect it will. So that's going to be another one of those game of the year contender lists predictions of that I'll say we're probably going to see by the end of the year. This being really highly rated and highly up there. And then to wrap it up, just two ones to call out. GTA 6, yes, that is going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be more huge in terms of a long tail than some massive one-time burst release, because that's the way that kind of game works. So whether it will be game of the year, like beloved, rather versus just the kind of game that's hugely successful for a long, long time, that remains to be seen. And another one that I saw show up on a few game of the year or most anticipated game lists, which I was kind of really surprised about, is Microsoft Flight Simulator. So Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is anticipated by a lot of people, and it's the tech that they're putting into Flight Simulator these days is really amazing. So this, you want to talk about innovative games, this is the kind of thing that could be a really innovative game. And what they've done here is they've taken like satellite maps of the actual planet and done procedural rendering of the world based on integrated with what the actual world is in satellite maps, so that if you want to fly a jetliner and fly to Paris or anywhere in the world, it will create that place in the world for you to fly to. And they've always been really good at the mechanics of flying. And you can see here, they even like stunt planes and jets and 747s to the point that real life pilots in training often spend lots of time with Microsoft Flight Simulator to hone their skills. And just from all accounts is getting more and more realistic, more and more real in some really amazing ways. So innovative tech, Flight Simulator 2024, highly anticipated by a lot of people. So that's fun. Anything else on your list, Sema, that you want to throw out there? Because
that's a lot already.
Yeah, that was a ton. And of course, we went as long as I thought we would in going through all of it. One other category, we don't need to sort of belabor it, but I expect to be big as we look back on 2024. One other category that I expect to be huge is updates to the best games of 2023. So I expect we're going to see the DLC and a lot from Starfield. I expect Baldur's Gate is going to continue to be big with expansions and stuff. I expect all of the top games of 2024 will have DLC and updates and expansions and stuff like that from 2023 extending into 2024. I can't wait for the Starfield one, for example. So we'll see where that goes. And if my prediction that the long tail on Starfield is where it's really going to get good, the modding community is going to open up, all that kind of thing. I expect, because 2023 was such a huge game with such great stuff, that 2024 in a lot of ways is going to be the year of 2023 DLC. and we'll see how that turns out. All right. Well, this has been huge. 2023 was huge. 2024, I predict, is going to be big. Not as big with new releases, with just the quality and quantity that came out in 2023. I think that was a little bit of an anomaly.
We'll see, though.
Yeah. New games always come out. The huge games that were also huge hits in their own rights coming out in 2023, I think that will be harder to achieve. But we just went through a ton of really good stuff, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, looking forward to making good on what the continued long tail from 2023 will be really fun in 2024 as well.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a tail from 2023, and I also think maybe the market is also just getting bigger.
Yes.
So there might be...
The pie is getting bigger.
Yeah, the pie is getting bigger. So there might be...
And that's good.
2023 might be like the first year in a trend of several years.
And remember, non-gamers, because gamers are going to hate all games and they can only like one at a time. But for us game players who aren't gamers, we can like all of the things.
Yeah.
And we will. So got that to look forward to. All right. That wraps up our look ahead at 2024. It'll be fun stuff for our podcast in 2024 as well. It's been great having everyone come along on the transition that we've made in the past year. And it's really looking fun for us in 2024 to be diving into all of these things and continue to play the games that we play. So thanks everyone for that. All the feed and subscribe links, as we always say, are on newoverlords.com, and the videos on YouTube/newoverlords, and will continue to be there in 2024. Please come chat with us in our Discord, newoverlords.com/Discord. You can see a lot of ARC talk in there. Oh, we sort of skipped over what we've been playing, but
yeah.
Maybe we'll get deeper into that next week because we went extra long on the stuff.
And I'm looking at the list. There's not a lot of different from...
Well, I'll tell my stories about Avatar and the Avatar movie.
Yes, that's true.
Next week. True. And a couple stories from ARC as well. But yeah, so all of that coming up, getting our Discord, and you can hear some of that chatter as it goes on. There's a lot of ARC chatter going on and Star Wars chatter going on. AIE Discord, if you want the invites to our guilds on Starforge and Shea Vizsla, that's at aie-guild.org, and Twitter, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Facebook. Follow me at Max the Gray or at New Overlords, and either one of those two in all of those places, and we'll keep you up to date on where everything is at and what's happening. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.